Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I can't tell you how good it is to be back. I have so missed you all, and I've really missed doing this. I'm not going to explain what's been cracking off. Basically, I've just had 3 to 4 weeks off through various different circumstances. I've been asked not to explain. I've been asked not to apologise, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to crack on and do the thing that I've missed more than anything over the last few weeks, and that's sitting in front of this with a cuppa, chatting to you guys. So I'll start with some comments on the last video. I've got here comments on last weekend's video, but that was about 3 weeks ago, so you might not remember this, but a lot of them were very sort of encouraging messages, which I thank you all for, and cheers everybody for bearing with me over the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks or whatever. I'm not changing the format again. All I'm going to do is, obviously I'm recording this one on a Friday so that I can upload it Saturday morning, so it should be about 8 a.m. When this lands. I'm going to try and keep it to one video. I'm going to try and keep it to between, say, 30 and 40 minutes a week, so it's just going to be a Saturday movie and TV zone, rather than one on a Saturday and one on a Sunday, two separate sets of notes, not knowing which set of notes to put where. I'm going to try and uncomplicate this as much as I possibly can, and even I'm sure, can manage 30 minutes of video every week. So hopefully what's been cracking off over the last few weeks shouldn't affect what goes on with this. But I'll just read some of the messages out to you that you've sent me. You've all been so lovely, you really have. Chris, thanks mate. I do appreciate the message that you tagged onto your horathon, by the way. Very much appreciated, mate. Don't take 4 weeks or a month. I think it has been near enough that. It certainly wasn't intended to be. You put, enjoy your time, sir. It's needed from time to time, and then I and many others will await your return to our big, little or massive screens soon. Cheers, Chris. Really appreciate that. It's good to be back. It is so good to be back. Jason P, just take your time, and when you do the next video, we don't want any apologies for not doing one or any of that bollocks. Just go straight in and say I'm back, and then just crack on. You don't need to apologise to us, but you now owe us a 3-hour video. In your fucking dreams, mate. I'm trying to ease things up and uncomplicate things, but you never know. It might happen at some point. I don't know when though. Dave Oliver, hey up mate. Never have to apologise, mate. Family life, or life, family and health all come before YouTube. Take care of yourself, and I'm sure we will see you soon. Here I am back, large as life. Cheers, Dave. Scott, no need to apologise, Tony. You take care, mate. Hope everything is okay. Everything is now fine. Pretty much everything that's been going off over the last few weeks has sort of righted itself. I mean, it started off with that evil cough that I had. That took weeks to get rid of, and I'm still coughing a bit now, but nowhere near as much as I was. So yeah, hopefully everything's back to normal now, so thanks for that, Scott. Jason K, our Ginger Ninja, looking forward to seeing you back for Tony time. Cheers, mate. But take care of yourself, take care of you and yours first and foremost. Life takes priority, and I am sure we can all wait for you, which you all have done. I'm very grateful for that. Enjoy your week off. I have a week off too right now, and take care of yourself, mate. I hope your week has been more productive than mine this week. I've done bugger all, absolutely stuff all. I think it's just an attack of can't be botheredness. But I knew that I'd promised a video for this weekend, so I thought, it's Friday, this is your last chance to do it, so here I am. Guy, there is no need to apologise, mate. As we keep saying, you get sorted. Life comes first. We'll be okay. Cheers, Guy. Dave Taylor, my old cohort Dave Taylor from the warehouse. Family and health must come first. Cheers, Dave. So yeah, that's pretty much all the messages that I had about my little hiatus. Thanks again for the constant encouragement from all of you. I've had messages and posts and all sorts saying, hope you're doing okay, and this, that and the other. As I say, everything now should be okay with a bit of luck. So I'm keeping fingers crossed for that one. What have I got here? Mark, you watched Talk to Me. What was it like? Do you think I will make it through it? I'm waiting for another review from a certain person who was going to watch it. To let me know whether I'm going to get more than sort of 15 minutes into it. From what I've been reading, and yes, I have been on the parents' guide, and I still do that. From what I've read, I don't think, short of turning the sound down or giving it loads of this and fingers and ears, I don't think I'm going to make it through it, which is a shame because I've been looking forward to that movie for a long, long time. I saw the trailer to it months ago. There's been a lot of buzz around it, especially when it first came out, doing the cinema run. And it's got brilliant reviews. The two guys that directed it started life directing short YouTube videos, and they've been doing it for years, since they were kids, and this is their first attempt at directing a feature film. And apparently it's absolutely brilliant, and I desperately want to watch it. It's on Netflix, so there's nothing stopping me straight after this from going in there and actually hitting play and watching it. But I don't know. There's a certain scene with an eyeball, I've heard. There's a certain scene with a dying kangaroo, I've heard. And Jason Kerr, you told me that if you think the first few minutes is bad, there's a scene halfway through it, or a lot of the way through it, that's even worse. Please message me and let me know what that is. So I can be. It's not a spoiler. It's just pre-warning me of the nastiness to come. But I will take a look at it at some point. But I need to be fully equipped for this one. I really do. But what do you think of it, Mark? I'm very, very curious about that one. Chris, your Hukes Horathon, loving it. Absolutely loving it. It's probably all over now because we're into November. But I did enjoy it. Enjoyed your review of the thing on 4K. That Universal Monsters box set. My God, I am so tempted by that. I've actually got them all on DVD, and they do look nice. But at 4K, I mean, it's tempting. I got to admit, it is very, very tempting. I'm not into doubling up on things at the moment because I'm desperately trying to cut down. And before you all ask, yesterday I went down to the RSPCA in Stretton because I had no idea where the shop was. I know it's in the town centre, but I've no idea where it was, and I didn't fancy carrying this sizable box of DVDs, books and all sorts across a car park and then just carrying it up and down the high street trying to find this. But I knew where the centre was because it's where we got our dog from. So I took it down there and asked whether they'd mind taking charge of it. And they've actually got a van in the yard that takes items from there to the shop. So, and the high street was a bit of an experience. I haven't been down there for so long. My God, it's changed. There are places down there, shops down there I've never seen before. There are lots of shops that are shut. A bit depressing, really. But yeah, the current load of bin it or keep it's and stuff that I've been dumping has all gone, and I'm afraid what was that one I was going to keep, Straight Outta Compton, has gone with it. Do you know what, I took one look at it and I thought, are you ever going to watch this? Do you know what, it's on Netflix, just get rid of the bloody thing. So it's gone, along with all the others. So I was going to do a little video of me doing it, but I didn't. You just have to take my word for it. I did go down there, so that's all sorted. What have I got here? Dave Oliver, your trip to New York to Comic Con. Wow, what a place. I know Birmingham do one. I find it hard to believe that it would be anywhere near as spectacular as the one that you've been to. It looked amazing, and as much as I didn't recognise a lot of the stalls there or a lot of the sort of the programmes and the films that they were talking about, it looked amazing. You must have had such a time there. Enjoyed your reviews, by the way. What have I got here? VHS 85. Need to catch up with these VHS movies. Not sure. I can't. Do you know what? I watched this video ages ago. I can't remember what you said about it, but I would imagine that you enjoyed it. Halloween 2. Yeah, cracking movie. My memories of that are in 1981. We went to our usual Pontins holiday camp in Prestatyn, and Prestatyn's got a high street that's like a 45 degrees. It's a sheer hill full of shops, and at the top of the hill was a video library, a VHS library, and in there they got Halloween 2. And I said to the guy working there, how on earth have you managed to get this? It's literally just been released at the cinema. And he told me not to ask. So I said, is it available for rent? And he said, yeah. So he says, "Are you a member?" I says, "No, no, I'm not from round here. I live in Burton-on-Trent." He says, "Well, I'll have to ask you for a returnable deposit." I think it was something like 20 quid. That was a lot of money back then. So I gave him this 20 quid, took this VHS tape home, well, back to the chalet, watched it, and thought, it's very dark. Obviously, I didn't realise it was a pirate video at the time. But yeah, and I took it back the following day, desperately tried to hide from my mum and dad that I got next to no money left until I'd gone back to get this 20 quid deposit back. But that was my first experience of Halloween 2. I did enjoy the movie, but I enjoyed it a lot more when I saw it on official release on the Thorny MI label. Remember them, Jace? Thorny MI, the Burning, Driver, all that sort of thing, all released on Thorny MI. And I loved it, absolutely loved it. And I think you said that it was an acceptable sequel. I seem to remember you were saying that you didn't like it the first time you saw it, or weren't keen, but you definitely enjoyed it more the second time round. So yeah, enjoyed that one. I put here, also hate anything to do with eyes. How did you make it through Saw X? I can't even remember what that's referring to. Did you review something that had some kind of an eye thing in it? This is the danger of not doing videos and keeping notes on them, and I swore I was going to throw all these notes away and start again, but it seemed a shame to waste them. Plus it gives me plenty to talk about. So let's see, trailer reactions. Five Nights at Freddy's, it looks amazing. I've got to admit, I've not seen Willy's Wonderland, the Nicolas Cage one that it's being compared to, but I would definitely be up for watching Five Nights at Freddy's. It's got some quite good reviews as well. You were also going to watch, or were considering watching, Totally Killer. It's on Prime. We watched this probably about 3 weeks ago. Dave, it's a total hoot. If you've not watched it yet, have a watch. It's a complete 80s sort of throwback nostalgia fest. It is brilliant. The soundtrack is amazing. The look, it's like something out of the 80s, honestly, Dave, and it's so funny. The script is razor sharp. I loved it. We really, really enjoyed it, way more than I thought we would. Watch the trailer, and obviously, like you, the first reaction is, it can't possibly be as good as it's looking on here. But this one was. I can safely say I think you'll enjoy it. So if you've not watched it, you get onto that one, mate, because you will enjoy it. What have I got here? Monsternado. Oh, you weren't impressed. Oh God, it looks bad, but it looks really, really good fun. I'd be tempted to watch it, but I wouldn't be sort of blazing a trail to watch it. But if it happens to be on and I bump into it accidentally one night while channel hopping, I'll probably have a look for 20 minutes and see what it's like. But I'm fairly sure I know what I'm in for with that one. On the other hand, Godzilla -1. I don't know whether it's been released yet. As I say, these notes are a few weeks old. But it looks bloody amazing. And it's like I said before, if you want to do a monster movie, especially a Godzilla movie, give it back to the country that created it and let them take a stab at it. And it looks like they've done an amazing job. So whatever Godzilla -1 turns up on, I definitely want to have a look at that. And I'm not the biggest monster verse fan, as you know. King Kong versus Godzilla, or whatever it was, did absolutely nothing for me. Was it Kong versus Godzilla? Did not a lot for me. Whether it would, if I watched it again, I don't know. I much preferred the King Kong versus Godzilla from the 60s, the original Toho Japanese version. Can't beat it, absolutely love it. But that one, it didn't do much for me, but I'm definitely going to take a look at Godzilla -1. So thanks for all that, Dave. Guy and Callie, Hunya Geek is showing the Planet of the Apes special. Absolutely adored it. I love these movies, as you know. You mentioned about the Star Wars timeline on Disney Plus. They're actually doing it, as you said, the timeline right from the beginning to the end in timeline order, which means you've got to watch the Phantom Menace first. I think it's one of the cartoon series after that. I would love to try doing this. I really would. I need to start that one, but yes, they are doing it. You're right. Let's see. The double bill. Yeah, the original Planet of the Apes I actually saw, and I've told this story a few times, but Burton Odeon on a double bill with Escape to the Planet of the Apes. I got there probably about 15-20 minutes, maybe half an hour before the original or the first double bill had finished. So I bumped into that classic ending before I'd even seen the film. But as I wasn't bothered about spoilers and stuff back then, I certainly wouldn't be impressed if I'd have done it this time round. But yes, it was a cracking movie. They were both brilliant. I loved them both. And that original franchise, the original 5 movies, I can watch over and over again, and I will be watching them again very, very shortly. So yes, I will be taking those in. I didn't realise the original was cut for TV. What on earth did they cut out? I need to have a look into that. That's the first I'd heard of that one. I'm trying to think. Some of the scenes were probably a little bit on the grim side. The guy with the lobotomy didn't look exactly 100%. So I would imagine, yeah, for a film from 1968 that would have been, I think, an A certificate if I got into it. It was a little bit brutal in parts, I've got to say. So, but I'd be very curious to know what actually was cut. So I didn't know that. And do I prefer the original movies or the reboots? You have to ask. The originals, obviously. I love what they've done with the franchise. Rise, War of the Planet of the Apes, and Dawn. Loved them, absolutely loved them. But for me, the originals are always the best, and this never changes with me. I'm a bit of a traditionalist like that, but a little bit boring, I suppose. But given the choice between watching the reboots and the originals will win hands down every time. But I would like to go again right through the whole franchise. That includes the original movies, the television series, which I absolutely loved, the cartoon series, which I've never seen but I've managed to get hold of, and also the reboots. In time for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which looks absolutely bloody amazing. That trailer, when I first saw it, I know this thing isn't coming out until sort of late next year or whatever. I thought it was a fan-made thing at first, and then I realised sort of a quarter of the way into it, this is it, this is the real thing. Really, really impressed with it. It looks like it's going to be bloody brilliant. So yes, I am looking forward to that one. Let's see, favourite scene. You think I'm going to say, get your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape. It's not, actually, it's not. And it's not the ending either. And don't ask me why this is my favourite part, I don't know. It's when they are watching the spaceship right at the beginning, when they're watching the ship disappear into the water, and he says, going, going, gone. And he says, okay, we're here for good. I just love that line. It is so final, so you can't argue with it. You're not going anywhere. We're here for good. We're here forever. And I just thought it was brilliant. That is easily my favourite line. And I do enjoy the scenes with Taylor ribbing the guy, the all-American action hero, basically telling him that you might as well get used to it. You know, we are here and it is now. You get used to that and you hold on to it. You might as well be dead. I love all that. Absolutely loved it. And then we get into the meat of it. And it's just a superb movie. Absolutely brilliant. The original by far is my favourite of the Planet of the Apes movies. Absolutely, I could watch it over and over and over again. Seen it hundreds of times. Never get bored of it. Where am I here? Sorry, I'm referring to notes. Soundtrack, oh my god. I get the feeling it was quite experimental for the time. There are certain scenes that you watch and you think, what on earth is that noise? When they're all sliding down the hill and it sounds like somebody is hitting milk bottles filled with water with a drumstick. It sounds like that, and it probably is, but I would imagine that was quite experimental and quite unusual for the time. Let's see what else I've got here. I definitely want to hear, by the way, that dark speech given by Roddy McDowall at the end of Conquest, was it? Yeah. I didn't know about that. I'm hoping it's going to be on one of the extras on the Blu-rays that I've got, because as usual I've watched the movies, but I've not seen many of the actual extras. And this time when I go through it, I will be watching the extras. And talking of Planet of the Apes, I've got something to show you a little bit later that I think you'll be very, very interested in. And you're right about the no moment in Rise of the Planet of the Apes. No! Oh, amazing. What a line. I remember watching that in the cinema, probably one of the last films I saw in the cinema. And it is such a powerful moment. Your heart sinks and you think, oh my God, that's fucked it. I thought that was amazing. Let's see. Yeah, it's a big yes from me, by the way, to cover the TV series, the cartoon, the merchandise, maybe the poster art, that kind of thing. All the bits that are attached to Planet of the Apes. I would love to see that. And I would be first in the queue to be watching that one. So yeah, as far as covering the rest of the stuff to do with Planet of the Apes, that is a massive yes from me. Including the animated series, obviously, which I'm looking forward to having a look at. By the way, I love your end title music, The Thing. It took me about 20 seconds to recognise it, but I thought, I know this, and it sounds really, really good. So yeah, well chosen there. So nice one. And also, I got a chance to watch your latest video about the MCU. It was a total geek out. I really, really enjoyed it. You are absolutely right. First of all, about movie lengths. I've been watching, or been trying to watch a couple of movies for weeks and weeks now. One of them is 3 hours long. I'll be coming on to that one a little bit later on. And you're constantly finding yourself putting it off, thinking, do I really want to watch it in two 90-minute segments, or do I want to watch the whole thing? And as it happens, that's exactly what I have done. I watched 90 minutes yesterday, and I've got the last 90 minutes to watch, hopefully today. So the review of that one will be sort of half-baked. But it's just finding 3 hours, and I know I've had plenty of time this week, but I've slept a lot of it. So, yeah, you're quite right. These movies that are 3+ hours long. I'm looking forward to watching Oppenheimer, but 3.5 hours? Killers of the Flower Moon, can't wait. Over 3.5 hours? I mean, bloody hell. Yeah, and as for the MCU, I agreed with everything you said on that. I started the MCU journey, oh God, months ago, probably about a year or two back actually, and I'm still only as far as Thor, the original Thor. And the more I look at it, I look at the list that sprawls out in front of me of how many of these things I've actually got to get through to get to what I consider to be the ones I want to watch, which is mostly the Spider-Man ones. But somebody said, no, you've got to watch them in order, you've got to watch them in order. Yeah, but how long's that going to take me? Did you say there was something like 200 hours worth of MCU material out there? I don't know whether that's including TV series, which I actually would not entertain watching at all. Definitely not. I've got enough to contend with watching the movies. But like you, every single time you turn on like a movie review podcast, it's MCU, superheroes, this comic book, that. And it's like you say, I hate to say this because so many people told me I was going to have so much fun watching these movies. And I have enjoyed the ones that I've seen so far. I've really, really enjoyed them. But to be honest, I'm looking at it now and thinking, like you, I'm just bored of it. Why, as you say, don't they just take a bloody break, give us a year or two off? And the other thing is, as you said, a lot of smaller movies, independent movies, brilliant films, are not getting a look in because they're being overshadowed by these damn superhero movies. It's like every month there's a new one, sometimes every week near enough. It's like The Flash. I would love to see The Flash. Don't mind that one. But there are certain ones that I have no interest in whatsoever, but I'm being told I still need to watch them in order. I'm so tempted to fuck that off actually and just say, do you know what? I fancy watching that one. I don't care what order it is in or where in the timeline it falls. I just want to watch it. Am I okay to do that, guys? Advise me on this. There are certain ones that I do want to watch, including the Spider-Man ones, the Flash. Not really got any interest in Black Panther or anything like that. That's just 2 or 3. But even so, even with the Spider-Man movies, I still prefer, my Spider-Man was this one. I think I've shown this off before. This is the 1967 cartoon series. Absolutely amazing. It's got the coolest music soundtrack ever for a cartoon series. I absolutely love this. This is my Spider-Man. The only other one that I would really love to see at some point again is the 70s series starring Nicholas Hammond as Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Nicholas Hammond, for those of you that don't know, was one of the Von Trapp kids in The Sound of Music. And he plays Peter Parker in the 70s TV series. It's not a film of Spider-Man. But what they did was they cobbled together a couple of episodes of the TV series. They did this a lot back then in the 70s and released them as a feature film. And they were on double bills a lot during the summer holidays. They did it a lot with The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Do you remember that? David McCallum, who we sadly lost last month, I think, and Robert Vaughan. They got episodes of that and cobbled them together and released them as a feature film. They did 3 or 4 of those, and they were really, really good. But you can't take your mind off when you're watching it. You think, I've seen this before, I'm sure I have, and then you realise, yeah, of course, it's a series, isn't it? But yeah, I would love to see that 70s Spider-Man series again. I keep meaning to go onto Amazon.com, the US version, and see whether they've got it available and importing it, because I would love to see that again. But as for the MCU, I will continue with it at some point, but I've got to say, I'm bored to fuck of it. Even though I've enjoyed the ones I've watched, and as soon as I recommence with it, I'm fairly sure I'll say, oh God, why have I not done this before? But at the moment, my thing is I would love to be able to cherry pick the ones that I want to watch without falling foul of these, you've got to watch them in order, fucking people. So advise me on this. Can I do this? Am I going to fall seriously ill or my head explode if I watch them in the wrong order? Let me know on that one, guys. Right, I'm going to take a quick break. I've got loads to get through, so that it should be getting on for at least 45 minutes, maybe an hour on this one. So I'll be back in a few seconds. Yeah. Yeah, the MCU. Less said about that, the better at the moment. I think I've pretty much got that off my chest, as Guy and Callie did also. We had an unusual conversation a few weeks ago, and I've been dying to read some of these out. It's not movie related, but Guy, another great vid, mate. Thanks for all the love. Really appreciate it. I love your podcast. I really do. And I'm looking forward to the next episode, especially if it's going to be a continuation of the Planet of the Apes epic that you did the other week. So yeah, I do enjoy the stuff that you do. How can you not like cold pizza in the morning, you weirdo? I can't stand cold pizza any time. Ordering from not so much Papa John's but Domino's, they were forever delivering late, or usually either lukewarm or cold, and it was like, I can't eat that. You're gonna have to microwave it or something, but you shouldn't have to. So cold pizza, no. Jason, you replied, not cold for fuck's sake, at least put it in the microwave. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I don't mind that. Guy, I'll eat it hot or cold. Same with Chinese takeaway the morning after. Oh my God, no, please. And it gets worse. Cold kebab, Mark says. No, absolutely not. I can't stand kebabs anyway. I only had one once, just the once, and I was violently ill for days. So God, no, I've never touched one since. Guy, been there, done that. Yum. Also buys a kebab whilst out steaming, gets home, passes out without eating said kebab, wakes up in the morning still drunk, spots unopened kebab on kitchen side, a heart breakfast. Fucking seriously? Oh God, kebab's not even hot, let alone cold. Mark, been there. My usual thing is to go out, get steaming, and then get a kebab. Eat half, then leave the other half for breakfast. No, 1,000 times no. Jason, in the 70s, my uncle used to call in the chippy. This is the worst yet. From the pub, have fish chips and peas, put them in the fridge, and eat them cold for breakfast. Ugh. Even the thought of this makes me sick. I didn't know this until it was mentioned at his funeral. No doubt one of the amusing anecdotes that they pass around at the wakes. Jason, that's absolutely bloody revolting. Anyway, back on subject after that absolute horror show of culinary nightmares. Loving your TV thing, Jace. I've made a list of the first 46 actually that I want to sort of have a brief chat about at some point. It'll probably be next week actually. I'm going to start one in the new year. It's going to be completely different from yours. I'm going to have one show a week. I'll announce the show on the Monday, and the rest of the week will be stills, bits of the soundtrack, clips from. The only thing that might be different is I might do a separate thread, kids TV kids TV shows that I grew up with, of which there are hundreds. So mine isn't going to last 100 days. Mine's probably going to last hundreds of months. So years and years. It'll just keep on rolling. So that's how I'm going to do mine. I mean, I'll also. I mean, for the rest of the week, that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, calm. For the rest of the week, after I've said what the actual show is going to be, like I say, I'm going to concentrate on stills, soundtracks, annuals, games that were brought out to do with the TV show, which I had quite a few in the 70s, soundtracks, etc. And as I say, the kids show will be a separate thread because there are probably literally hundreds. Every time I think of kids shows, I can come up with 20 off the top of my head that I grew up with. So that's how mine's going to work. I've already got the first sort of 30 sorted out, so I've got next year pretty much covered already. But that's how mine's going to work. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are doing, if you're doing anything to do with this. Chris's will be interesting. Mark's will definitely be interesting. Who else is there? Guy, you'll have some good ones. But as you said before, Jace, we've all got very different tastes in movies and especially TV shows, and it does go a lot of the time on what you can actually remember. I mean, every single one of yours I've heard of, but I've not seen that many of them, which I'll go into at some point over the next week or two when I break it down. But yes, I'm looking forward to getting into that one. Not sure what the first one's going to be yet. What you'll see a lot of in mine is American comedy shows from the 70s. I'll knock a couple off the top of my head. WKRP in Cincinnati, remember that one? About a radio station. Soap, which I absolutely adored. And one which I caught fairly recently from the 70s. John Travolta started life in this. Welcome Back, Kotter, set in an American high school. I've watched 2 or 3 episodes of it and I absolutely love it. John Travolta definitely shows a real star quality in this. And you're going back to about 1975, possibly 1976. He's just amazing. The guy's awesome. So that's how mine's going to work. And that'll be kicking off sometime in January. I'm not going to say January the 1st. It'll just be sometime in January. So that's how mine's going to work. Scott, you did a video on underrated movies. I'd heard of most of them. Untamed Heart, I'd not heard of that one. I mean, I loved Marissa Tomei in My Cousin Vinny. I thought she was amazing in that. So that's quite made me want to watch Untamed Heart. Stay tuned. Isn't that something to do with Warner Brothers cartoons? Have I got the right one? Or am I thinking of something else? Higher Learning. Not heard of that one. Prison, I remember that being on the VHS shelf at State Mill Video when I worked there. It was quite popular. It was on the Medusa label, if I remember right. License to Kill. Do you know what? I can't remember. Is that the Bond one? Terrible, isn't it? This is one I did a few weeks ago again. I loved License to Kill. I remember renting it out when it first came out around about 1989, possibly a little bit before that. It was the first Bond film to get a 15 certificate, and I desperately wanted to see it to see what it had got in it that earned it a 15 certificate, and I soon found out. I think they've yet to release a completely uncut version, but if you look on YouTube, you'll get a breakdown of the scenes that were either cut or trimmed. censorship at its best again. It was rife in the 80s as well, I'm afraid. So yeah, I enjoyed that video, mate, and I've made a list of the videos that you mentioned. Your September pickups, really enjoyed that one. I love these pickup videos. I think they're great. SummerSlam 2023. My God, is that still going? I used to have to tape, yes, from Sky for a mate of mine who loved it, but he hadn't got Sky. And I had to tape SummerSlam. What was the other one? There were 3 or 4 major wrestling events, usually about 3 hours long, and I used to have to tape them. I actually got quite into them at one point, so I kind of get that one. Your copy of Crossroads, is it a Spanish import? I actually watched this movie for the first time. I'll be coming back to that one shortly. I watched it for the first time a couple of nights ago. Really enjoyed it. I mean, does that version play on a UK player, or is it a multi-region one that you've got? I'm just curious about that. The Wraith, never seen it. It's on my watch list. Charlie Sheen, so yeah, that's on my watch list. The Wicker Man, total stone cold classic. I've got to grab at some point that special edition with all the sort of art cards and posters and soundtracks and stuff like that in it. I love The Wicker Man. I love the soundtrack. I love the movie. Christopher Lee is amazing in it. So yeah, totally get that one. The Keeper, I got it a few weeks back, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I love a good true story, so I will be enjoying that one. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Yeah, here we go. It's a Spider-Man one, so yes, I will take a look at it. I've mentioned before, isn't this movie just an animated Spider-Man? And I get sort of told, no, it's not. It's very special. So I probably need to have a look at that one. Let's see, Gregory's Girl, brilliant, absolutely superb. I will be getting the BFI version of that, mostly for the isolated soundtrack, and there's a couple of other special features that I wouldn't mind. But it's a beautiful film, absolutely brilliant. Very politically incorrect. A lot of the lines and the scenes would not fly nowadays, but fuck it, brilliant. Psycho 4K box set. I was tempted by this, but I've already got the original Psycho and Psycho 2 on Blu-ray, and I can get Psycho 3 and Psycho 4 The Beginning anytime. Psycho 4 The Beginning is definitely the weakest entry. It is only saved by Anthony Perkins being in it. Otherwise, I don't think I'd have bothered with it. But apparently it's a massive upgrade to 4K for Psycho. And you preferred Psycho 2 to the original. Interesting. Didn't think I'd ever expect to hear that one in my lifetime. It was good. As far as sequels go, it is definitely one of the finest horror sequels ever. And I have seen it a few times. But as for being better than the original, not sure about that one. Not sure about that one, Scott. You leave that one with me. And you also bought Queen, A Night at the Opera. Classic album. I couldn't name any of the tracks on it offhand. I would imagine that's the one with Bohemian Rhapsody and Killer Queen and all that sort of thing. Mate of mine is very heavily into Queen. Has been for years. So he would know that one straight off. By the way, I loved your little drunk karaoke videos. I don't think I'll ever see Belinda Carlisle's Heaven is a Place on Earth ever the same again. That was amazing. And you watched Carry On Cruising. I'd be curious to know how far you've got with the Carry On films, by the way. I'd say this was weeks ago. Carry On Cruising was the first one they made in colour. And I loved it mostly for the dippy old bird. I can't remember her name. You'll know the one if you've seen it. She's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I enjoyed that Pickles video. You got another one that I think you dropped probably a few days ago. This goes for everybody. I'm going to be catching up with all your videos over this weekend to talk about hopefully Sunday for next weekend, because I've got a lot of catching up to do with what's been going off on the group. I've sort of popped on posts on there, but I've not been very active, and I do apologise for that, but that will be righting itself very shortly. I'll just quickly run through these because I promised to do this weeks ago. Scott, you did a Q&A a few weeks back, and I asked whether you'd mind if I nicked your questions and just answered them very quickly. So I'm going to do that now. Your first question was, what's the last movie you watched that you hadn't seen before and you knew you'd watched multiple times? Do you know what? I'd have to say A Fistful of Dollars. I've just made it through, or nearly made it through, the Dollars trilogy, and A Fistful of Dollars was absolutely brilliant. It's a little bit hard to follow at parts, but I thought it was great, and I'm almost certain that I will be watching that again. So if I had to pick one off the top of my head, I'd say A Fistful of Dollars, the Clint Eastwood movie. Have you met any of the YouTube community in person? I haven't. I wouldn't say no to meeting Dave, obviously Dave Oliver, Steve Mack. He's a lovely guy. I mean, I already know Guy and Mark because I used to work with them. I'm still at the same place, but they've sort of moved on. So I do know Guy and Mark. Jason I've known for bloody decades. Jason, as you all probably know now, was a customer at the shop. When the video shop when I worked there in sort of the late 80s. He used to come in straight from school and prop the counter up. He was all spiky hair and teeth back then. And he just used to talk the iron legs off me about films. It was brilliant. I used to be giving him all these like cardboard cutouts and posters and stuff, all things that we would usually just throw away, but he wanted them. Quite a few times I've seen him struggling out of the shop with a cardboard cutout that was bigger than he was. So, yeah, I've known Jason a long time. What else have I got here? Oh, Caroline. Yeah, I've known Caroline since near enough since school, I think. Caroline's lovely. I do miss Caroline. Next one. What's been the hardest thing you've faced in your YouTube journey so far? I think you said your first ever live stream. I would say my first ever video. It's going to sound predictable, this, and admitting that I needed a channel at all, because back then it was just the website. Then somebody suggested you need a Facebook page to go with this, so I obviously started the Facebook page. And then somebody said, you really do need a YouTube channel, and I put the shutters right down with that one. It's like, no, not doing that, can't do that. Now look at me, prattling for hours on end. So yeah, I would say admitting that I needed a YouTube channel, because I was completely against it when it was first suggested. Let's see, what's the best thing that's happened to you and the best memory since starting YouTube? Winning the YouTube Entertainer of the Month was a good one. And mostly it's simple things like interacting with you guys every weekend. I enjoy doing this much more than you know, and it doesn't take as much planning as I probably let on. I spend probably 15-20 minutes a night just trawling through the Facebook group, through people's comments, through film sites, and basically just copy and paste a load of stuff onto this, which I'll show you sometime. It's right in front of me. So I do love doing it. I absolutely adore doing it, and I've missed it so much over the last few weeks. I'm just hoping it doesn't look too bad, because it's been a few weeks and I need to get back into my stride again. But I'm not doing too bad because I've done 45 minutes so far. I've not finished yet. So yeah, I would say interacting with you guys is the highlight of my week. Absolutely. Which band or solo artist would you love to see live? I think you mostly said older artists, even though they may not be as good as they used to be. Don't know about that one, Scott, either. Who would I love to see? If she didn't outprice herself so much and she played a little more locally, probably Madonna. But that's highly unlikely. Tickets are just way too expensive, and she plays these arenas and I can't be arsed with it, to be honest. But I would love to see her live. But saying that, getting the Blu-ray or the 4K on a nice big screen TV, it's just as good, and you get a better view, don't you? Already seen the Human League many times. Absolutely love them. Who else have we seen? We sort of spent probably 3 years just catching up with all these 80s bands that we couldn't go to see in the 80s because neither of us drove. They were too expensive and they were way too popular as well. It's like I can't walk into a crowd. No. So we're now catching up with all these. Well, we haven't been for a bit, but we've seen Human League, OMD. They were brilliant. I loved OMD. Alison Moyet, we've seen her twice. Pretenders. I think that's the first time I've ever got genuinely starstruck when she walked onto the stage. I just remember leaning over to Rob and saying, "My God, that's Chrissy Hynde." I know. That's the first time. Bananarama. Oh my God. Sorry, Guy, that's not very rock and roll, but I loved Bananarama. It was probably about 5 years ago when they announced a tour with all three of them. They've been a duo for quite a while since one of them left. And they announced a tour with the original trio. And we went to Nottingham to see them, and it was absolutely brilliant. Superb night. So yeah, sorry, Guy. Bananarama. There you go, said it again. Erasure, seen those? Oh my God, the Osmonds. Oh my God, went to see the Osmonds. Now, bear in mind, there's only probably 2 or 3 of them left. But again, it was a brilliant night. Took a neighbour of mine who remembers them from the 70s like I do. Rob came with us, and I thought, oh my God, he's going to hate every second of this. It's just not his thing. He loved it, absolutely loved it. The first thing he said when we got back in the car was, I couldn't get over how pitch perfect they were. And it's like, yeah, but they've had 50 years to hone the craft. So I loved them, absolutely loved them. So there's probably more, but I can't think of them. But the one I want to see more than any, if I possibly could, would be Madonna. Let's see. Pick one movie which you'd love to see released in the ultimate box set, and what would you include in the box set? I'm going to be very predictable here because I couldn't think of any others off the top of my head. Close Encounters, obviously to include the soundtrack on vinyl and CD, both of which I've already got. The photo novel, which I'm still trying to grab a decent copy for a decent price. The original press book, which would have been the magazine thing that they sold in the foyer related to Close Encounters, which I've got somewhere upstairs in the attic if I can find it. A model of the mothership from the end with Devil's Tower. That would be amazing. Something from Aurora, something like that. The original UK quad poster, which I'm going to get hold of if it kills me. Bonus features to include as many documentaries on the making of as you could squeeze onto the disc, and filming locations now and then. I love these videos that they put on YouTube of filming locations as they are now, compared to what they looked like years ago when they were filmed. So yeah, a bit predictable, but that's my answer to that one. So thanks for allowing me to use that, Scott. If you do another one, I'll probably nick that one off you as well. What else have I got here? Eddie Izzard's version of Dr. Jekyll. My God, it's getting panned by critics. They hate it, absolutely hate it. I've seen the trailer and it looks all right. And I mean, I never listen to critics anyway. I make up my own mind. If I hear a film is really, really bad, I will still watch it. But these critics can be really, really cruel sometimes, and for absolutely no reason. But yes, I will be watching the Dr. Jekyll movie starring Ezzy Izzard. As soon as I can get it, I'll be taking a look at that one. I put a trailer on probably a couple of weeks ago for a movie, an obscure 70s movie called Night of a Thousand Cats. How did I come across this obscure movie? Because nobody had ever heard of it. I came across it listening to my new favourite podcast. You all think it's Mark Commode. It's not. My favourite podcast now is the Pure Cinema podcast, which is introduced by 2 guys named Brian Sauer and Elric Kane. They've got an encyclopedic knowledge of old movies, and what they do is they use the pick 5 format, whereas they will pick 5 movies of a certain genre, and they will pair it up with a movie that they would put it on a double bill with, and this is a format that I am going to adopt very shortly as a feature. Look at this. This is when I'm listening to the podcast at work. I've usually got a piece of paper in my pocket so that I can just pull it out and write down a title, because they talk about movies that I've never heard of. Just look at this lot. This is all the notes. They're actually written on. Some of them are written on paper towels, paper napkins. What's the blank one? There's more, look. And there's more. And more. And then I got all this lot. All these. These are all titles of movies, and it's like, oh, never heard of that one. Got to write that one down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with The Night of a Thousand Cats. I'm going to be taking a look at that one, and I'm going to be pairing it up with another movie that I think would go well with it as a double bill. I just love their format, and I could listen to them for hours, and I do listen to them for hours. They just come up with movies that they've introduced me to so many films, hundreds, as you've seen from that little lot, hundreds of films that, a lot of them I've never heard of. I've watched the trailers and thought, do you know what, that looks really good. How on earth has that escaped me all these years? So yeah, that's going to be coming in very shortly. There's a couple of other little features that I want to sort of introduce. I did have them written down, but I can't remember what I've done with them. Let's see, just put this cup down. Oh, so yeah, that as I say, I just want to try and keep it fresh and give you guys something different to listen to, other than me ranting about the MCU and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, that's going to be one. Probably going to call it the retro double features section or something like that. So look out for that. What have I got here? TV. I mean, obviously with it now being called Movie and TV Zone, I'm going to combine obviously film and television programs. TV programs that I've watched just recently, The Reckoning, the Jimmy Savile drama. Oh my god. Uncomfortable, really uncomfortable viewing. But I have to say, I'm not Steve Coogan's biggest fan, but he really pulled it out of the bag with that one. His portrayal of Jimmy Savile is just faultless. He first came to my attention with Alan Partridge, which I didn't like. I didn't find him remotely amusing, and I thought, this is crap. And then he did a movie called Philomena, where he played a serious role, which I thought he was brilliant in. And then, to me, his tour de force was Stan Laurel in Stan and Ollie, which I absolutely adored. So yeah, he's basically sort of coming to his own with this Jimmy Savile one. As I say, uncomfortable viewing, nasty in parts, really nasty. It's not one I think I'd ever want to watch again, but I'm really pleased that I did watch it. And as you said, Jace, if he doesn't get every award going for his portrayal of Savile, something's not right. Encounters. I've just started watching a show called Encounters on Netflix about UFO encounters, basically. I've seen the first one, really enjoyed it. Very eerie and unsettling. You all pretty much know how I feel about sort of UFO sightings and abductions and stuff like that. It doesn't really sit comfortably with me, but I'm going to watch the last three hopefully over the weekend. Really enjoyed that. Sex Education season 4. It started off, I thought, pretty weak. I've enjoyed the first 3 seasons. This one I thought, oh my god, this is going to be a major plod. And then all of a sudden it picked up pace. I thought it was really good. It was a nice ending to what has been a good series. But I do get the feeling from the ending that we will be meeting these people again at some point, probably 3, 4, maybe 5 years down the line. There are going to be people wanting to know what happened to Otis and Maeve and all the others. So I wouldn't say no to that, maybe in a few years, but I think we've seen enough of it for the moment. And Creepshow season 4, only seen the first episode so far. Really enjoyed the first 3 seasons, thought they were brilliant. This first story, whether I was not in the mood for it, I don't know, but it didn't really do much for me. But I'm going to stick with it. I'll watch the rest of them and see what transpires with that. Shows I grew up with this week. We're going to go over an hour, I can see it coming. Terry Nation, famous mostly for being the creator of the Daleks in Doctor Who, did a series in the mid-70s which was really sort of prophetic of what was going to be coming. You'll know what I mean when you see it. Survivors. I bet you remember this one, Guy. Um, an amazing series, absolutely amazing. Basically, a flu virus wipes out the entire world, leaving just a small band, well, small pockets of survivors, of which this group are one. The whole series was basically them rebuilding society as it was, or as close as they could get it to. It was a brilliant series. It had one of the most haunting theme tunes you will ever hear in your life, and I guarantee you this one will end up in my TV thread next month. I mean, I'll keep this TV thread going till Christmas. I might as well have started it now, but a lot of the ones that you've seen on this will be turning up on that, I guarantee you. But if you've never seen Survivors, it's out in a box set. I think you can pick it up for £17 or £18 off Amazon, but it is the complete series. This is one that I need to watch again, but it kind of foretold what was to come with the pandemic and all that sort of thing. This was very, very similar to that, and basically showed what could have happened. So if you've not seen it, I would definitely recommend it as a good, solid piece of 70s drama. So, right, I'm going to take another quick break, and I'll be back with, let's see, a couple of quick reviews and a large pile of stuff that I've picked up over the last few weeks. Surprisingly enough, no DVDs or Blu-rays. It's all magazines and books. So I'll be back in a few minutes, and we'll wrap this thing up. Back in a minute. And we're back, and we're going into the home stretch. Let's see, I'll start with this because I will forget otherwise. I took on last weekend a guy, Jessup Braithwaite, Triple Bill. These are 3 films that he recommended to me. I thought, I've got a few hours to spare. Do you know what? I'm actually going to watch something that somebody has recommended to me, and this goes for all of you. If you've got any more movie recommendations, please throw them at me, because I do want to start watching more movies, and I'm slowly getting there. The 3 movies he recommended to me: Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, Eddie and the Cruisers, and Crossroads. Loved them all, Guy, all bloody 3 of them. My favourite by far was Eddie and the Cruisers. That was a very pleasant surprise for me. It was a movie that another of these that sat on the VHS shelf, never went anywhere and never appealed to me. I took one look at the cover and thought, no, and put it back. And I did pick it up quite a few times. And this is definitely one of those movies that I watched and thought, why the hell didn't you watch this one sooner? It was really, really, really good. Basically, it's about a guy called Eddie who leads a band called the Cruisers in the 60s. He disappears, I think his car goes off a bridge or something like that. And then the tapes for his final album, of which there was one track missing, disappeared. And it's basically to do with this reporter played by Ellen Barkin trying to track down these missing tapes, and that's basically the story of it, and basically reunite Eddie and the Cruisers. Even though Eddie is supposedly dead, people still think he's still alive. I'm not doing a very good job of telling you about this one, but it was an amazing movie. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. I know there's an Eddie and the Cruisers 2, which I will be taking in, definitely. Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man was not what I thought it was going to be. It was nothing like what I thought it was going to be. I expected some kind of a road movie with Mickey Rourke, and I thought Brad Pitt. I don't know why I thought Brad Pitt was in it, but it was Don Johnson, Mr. Miami Vice. It's hard to know how to describe it. I really, really enjoyed it. It was just not what I thought it was going to be. But I enjoyed it. It was definitely worth watching. And finally, there was Crossroads, which I thoroughly enjoyed. This is Ralph Macchio, the Karate Kid, entering the world of blues music via an old blues harmonica playing old geezer in a rest home, a nursing home. which he'd been in since he murdered somebody. I'd normally have this in notes, but I forgot to write them down, and it literally just came to me as I was downloading this last part of the video, and I thought I must mention these before I forget about them. So I've not had many made proper notes, but I will be doing that. I'll do proper reviews of all three. But that was a cracking triple feature, Guy. I really enjoyed all three of them. My favourite by far was Eddie and the Cruisers, which is, if you'd have said to me before I'd watched any of them, which one are you going to prefer, I'd have probably have said Crossroads, because of the subject matter. Closely followed by Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, which I thought was going to be just a road movie, and then Eddie and the Cruisers last. But Eddie and the Cruisers was a very pleasant surprise to me, so thanks for that. As I say, if any of you guys have got any recommendations, say 80s films, something like that, stuff that you think I probably haven't seen, which is pretty much everything from the 80s, as you know, just throw them at me, and I'm perfectly willing to have a go. Make it a double feature, and make them connected in some way. I would say the connection between these three is just purely cool movies, cool movies from the 80s. I think Marlboro Man was 91. But yeah, if you've got any that you think would make a good double feature on a Saturday afternoon for me, from say the 80s, let's start with the 80s, chuck them at me, and I shall give them a go. I've already got, it's another feature that I want to introduce actually, is forgotten VHS movies of the 80s. These are movies that I probably saw not just when I worked at the VHS library, but other times as well, that just sit there on the shelf, that didn't appeal to me. I found one last night. I saw a video on YouTube, and I thought, that never ever appealed to me, but I wouldn't mind watching it now. The Mission, Robert De Niro and Jeremy Irons. I thought it was a Scorsese film, but I'm not sure it is. But I've managed to get hold of that, so I'm going to be taking a look at that, because that's one of those movies that I took one look at on the shelf. I don't think I even picked the box up and thought that doesn't look my kind of film. I was very sort of closed-minded back then. But that's another feature I'll hopefully be introducing very shortly, is forgotten VHS movies from the 80s and possibly 90s, maybe even 70s. But yeah, really enjoyed that triple feature, Guy. Well done. Nice call, mate. What else have I got here? Oh, while I've got your attention, Guy, The 10th Planet. Finally finished it. I'm now moving on to The Troughton Years. This was definitely not William Hartnell's finest hour, but it was passable. I'm not sure I'd watch it again. There's some special features on here I wouldn't mind taking a look at, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting into the Troughton era. I've got the first one, which I think is Power of the Daleks. The first few stories of the Troughton era are lost and have been recreated through animation and stuff like that. So, I would rather watch the original episodes, but I've got to get through these first. So I'll be doing that one. Hopefully starting that one this weekend. So the Doctor Who journey rolls on. Now then, movies that I've been watching just recently. Oh, the other thing I said I'd show off. I've been meaning to do this for weeks. Oops. We were talking about the despecialised editions of the Star Wars movies. And I said that I'd got a box that somebody had designed for me. Dave Lowe, my technical advisor, he created this for me just on the off chance that I ever do get them on sort of DVDs, and that's the box he made for me, and it looks amazing. There's the rear. That's the original artwork from the poster, the UK poster, from when it was released in '77. But I promised I'd show that for ages. So there you go. Right, movies I've watched recently. Let's start with these. Chris, you'll love this. My Western journey begins with the Spaghetti Western trilogy. Now, I'm not going to lie, I've still got 90 minutes of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly to watch. I started it yesterday, but I've watched the other two. A Fistful of Dollars was absolutely brilliant. It was a little confusing, a bit difficult to follow. I had to go on Wikipedia to just look at the plot synopsis to find out exactly what was cracking off. It must be this old head of mine. It must get confused very easily. But it made it all perfectly clear. But it basically involves the man with no name riding into town, a town controlled by two outlaw families, and he basically plays them off against each other. I thought it was really, really well done. The score, superb. But for me, where this really took off was the next one, for a few dollars more, where we introduced Lee Van Cleef into the story. They are all separate films, by the way. They're not based on the same characters. Lee Van Cleef and Clint Eastwood played bounty hunters, and it's just really well done. And again, the score for that one is absolutely superb. And The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, I am really, really enjoying so far. It has what I consider to be one of the finest theme tunes ever, and I'll be posting it at some point soon. I just, once you hear it, you can't get it out of your head. It's whistling about in there now. I can hear it. But Chris, if you've not seen these, I'm not sure whether you did these on your Western thread. I would definitely recommend this box set. This is all 3 on Blu-ray. There's a wealth of special features on all of them. But notwithstanding the last 90 minutes of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, these are absolutely brilliant. I'm so glad I've finally got round to catching them. And I will watch the last 90 minutes of the final film a little bit later on. Last week, Saturday night, pizza night, was an old one. Homicidal. I think this is one of your favourites, Scott. I think you bought this quite a while ago. It obviously lends or borrows very heavily from Psycho, which was released the year before this one. And obviously William Castle and his cohorts have looked at Psycho and thought, we need to do something very similar to that, and they did. This is not a bad movie at all. Once you get past the first 20 minutes and you figure out what's happening, it's really, really good. William Castle was obviously the king of gimmicks, and in this one he had what they call a fright break, which is a 60-second clock that comes on the screen and basically warns you that if you want to leave the theatre now is your chance before she walks through the door of this house and sees whatever unpleasant things are on the other side. It's really, really good. It's very, very clever. I have to admit, I did pick up on the twist, but I get the feeling I've seen this a long time before, and it sat right at the back of my head, and I kind of remembered it. Rob didn't get it at all. He sat there and watched it, and all I heard was, fucking hell, I didn't see that one coming. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. I've got quite a few William Castle movies upstairs, which I'm now going to be taking in. The Tingler, Mr. Sardonicus, House of a Thousand, is it House of a Thousand Ghosts? 13 Ghosts. So I'm going to be taking a look at them. But the special features on these, there are loads. As with all indicator releases, the special features are worth the price of the disc alone. So I will be taking a look at that. But if you get a chance to watch this and you've not seen it before, and not heard what the twist is, definitely worth a watch. Let's see. Bin It or Keep It. Pain and Gain. I was recommended this by a guy at work, and the way he described it to me, I thought, yeah, I'll have a look, but it's not really my kind of thing. It concerns 3 bodybuilders. One is a personal trainer, played by Mark Wahlberg. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is in this. To boil the story down to its basics, they decide to rip off a very rich client of Mark Wahlberg's, and they have to resort to torture. The whole thing goes completely tits up, because obviously these are all steroid heads. A really, really good movie. I didn't realise who directed this until the very end, and when I saw it I thought, oh, that explains why I've enjoyed this so much. It's a Michael Bay film. Michael Bay, who did the Transformer movies, a lot of epic movies, and this was a complete break from that. It's based on a true story. It's a grisly crime. It starts off sort of fairly, not light-hearted, but not as serious as you think it's going to be. But by the final reel, it is quite nasty stuff. I won't give away the ending because obviously that goes into spoiler territory. But it's definitely worth a watch if you like sort of true crime stories. I definitely recommend this one. Am I going to bin it or keep it? When I first when it first finished, I thought, yeah, I'm going to keep that because that's really good. But looking back on it now, am I ever going to watch this again? I don't know. I'm on the shelf with this one. What do you think, guys? Should I bin this one or keep it? I'll leave this one with you. Whatever you vote, I'll go for. But I really, really enjoyed this. I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. As soon as I heard it was about bodybuilders, I thought, oh my God, this is going to be like an Arnold Schwarzenegger, stay hungry, pumping iron type thing. But it wasn't. It was completely different. And the beauty of it is I went into it completely blind, I mean nothing about it, and thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, that's recommended. Let me know, should I bin that or keep it, guys? I want to know. Right, what have I been buying? Oh God, I'll come back to them in a minute. We'll do the magazines first. God, there's so many. I've got to get around to reading these. Latest Total Film. I think this is the December issue. Is this December? Where are we? It doesn't say, but I'm assuming that's December. The latest SFX, which isn't even out of the envelope yet, with a massive feature on Doctor Who. The latest Empire. That might even be last month. Oh no, that's December's. Need to get that one read. Latest issue of Scream, which I've had an email through this morning saying, do you want to renew your subscription? So yes, I will be renewing that one. Let's see. Oh, knocked my light off. Latest Yours Retro, James Dean on the cover. Oh, I think I've done that one. These are all the ones that I did last time. Oh, hang on, there's a couple. Here we go. Latest Film Stories. What in God's name was that? Something's bleeping, so I'm going to have to bring this to a close scene and find out what it is before it distresses the dog. Latest Film Stories. Another Doctor Who magazine. Can you hear that? Bloody thing. And Sight and Sound, which is an Exorcist special. Now this one, Guy and Callie, you will love these. Planet of the Apes, Man the Fugitive. This is a paperback of the first story of the Planet of the Apes series. Callie and Guy, you'll love that one. Planet of the Apes Chronicles. That's really pissing me off now. Planet of the Apes Chronicles. No pictures at all, but just a detailed look at the whole franchise. And this one, I'll have to do a flip through version of this. Oh, Callie and Guy, look at this. Planet of the Apes, The Evolution of the Legend. It's a cracking book. I got this from the £10, believe it or not, on Amazon, second hand. So yeah, if you want me to do a flip through of that, I shall attempt it. Right, I'm going to have to go, guys, because I've got to find out what... It could be a smoke alarm. I could be on fire and not realise it. Thanks ever so much for joining me. And once again, thank you very much for all the encouragement you've given me over the last few weeks. As I say, it is really, really good to be back, and I've so missed doing this. So you should be getting something like an hour and a quarter tomorrow morning, God help you. Once again, thanks for joining me. If you've enjoyed the video, hit the like, subscribe, share, all that sort of thing. I'll be back again next weekend. I'm going to try to keep the videos fairly short. They won't all be this long. This has just been because I've had such a lot to catch up on. But you will be you'll be getting another video sort of next Saturday, and it probably will be 30, possibly 40 minutes, depending. But please comment as many times as you want down below in the Facebook and in the what's it, and it'll give me something to talk about next week. And I'll be recording that one on Sunday morning. So the more comments I get, the more I get to talk about. So again, thanks for joining me, and I will see you all again next weekend. Have a brilliant week, folks, and I will talk to you all again next weekend. Take care. Ta-ra.